Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Srivastav. Today we are going to study the topic biological weed control. Before presentation I would like to introduce myself. I am Vijay Kumar Srivastav. I have done MS Agriculture with a specialization in agronomy from JB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar in 1996 and presently associated with the seed industry in private MNC job. So let's proceed to the presentation. Now introduction to biological weed control. Biological control of weeds is broadly defined as the use of an agent, a complex of agent, or biological processes to bring about weed suppression. All forms of microbial and microbial organisms are considered as biological control agents. Examples of biological control agents include arthropods, under which insects and mites fall, plant pathogens like fungi, bacteria, viruses, and nematodes. After that, fish, birds, and other animals are included. Biologically based weed management is a much broader category of approaches that may include gene modification, gene processes, and gene products. Human activities intended to remove weeds directly or indirectly, such as hand weeding and burning, deliberate usage of plant competition, allelopathy, and cultural and soil management practices that alter the biotic balance of soil are considered important adjuncts to biological control in integrated weed management systems. Biological weed control utilizes natural living organisms such as insects, herbivorous fish, other animals, disease organisms as bacteria, fungi, and competitive plants to limit their growth. In biological control method, it is not possible to eradicate weeds, but weed population can be reduced. This method is not suitable to control all types of weeds. Introduced weeds are best targets for biological control. Biological control of weeds will not eliminate the need to use chemical herbicides. Both of these tools need to be integrated with cultural practices such as tillage and crop rotation in the battle against weeds. By using integrated weed management, the development of weeds that are resistant to biological or chemical agents can be slowed. Now to study how biological control works. Under the biological control program, host specific bioagents from the native home of the weed are imported into other countries where the weed had entered and became invasive. Biological control is inexpensive and poses no threat to non-target organisms, environment and biodiversity. It is self-perpetuating and can spread by its own while other control measures require input periodically. It is easy to integrate with other control measures. Parthenium is mainly a weed of waste and fallow land. Hence, biological control is the most economical and practical way to keep the weed under check. The origins of biological weed control. In ancient times, the Chinese discovered that increasing ant populations in their citrus groups helped decrease destructive populations of large boring beetles and caterpillars. That use of natural enemy to control a pest marked the birth of biological control. Biological control research and implementation is even more relevant today. Foreign and native organisms that attack weeds are being evaluated for use as biological control agents. As a weed management method, biological control offers an environmentally friendly approach that complements conventional methods. It helps meet the need for new weed management strategies since some weeds have become resistant to certain herbicides. Biological control agents target specific weeds. Moreover, this technology is safe for applicators and consumers. In 1925, Australia was struggling with 60 million acres of grazing land heavily infested with prickly pear cactus. Hundreds of square miles were virtually impenetrable to humans or animals. A small moth from Argentina was imported and released. The moth larva burrowed into the cactus, grew and multiplied, and within 10 years had decimated the prickly pear population. Today, the cactus covers only 1% of the area it occupied in 1925. The control Ovensia species, which is prickly pear in Australia and Lantana in Hawaii, with certain insect bioagents, are two spectacular examples of early period biological control of weeds as per Evans 2002. What are the merits and demerits of biological weed control? First, we will go through merits. This method is least harmful to the environment and having no residual effect, relatively cheaper, biological control methods having comparatively long lasting effect, and these are harmless to non-targeted plants, safer in use, and very effective in control of weeds in non-cropped areas. Besides this, some of the fish, snail, and other animals convert weed vegetation into seafood. Now, demerits. The multiplication is very costlier and control is very slow, and success of control is very limited, and very few host specific bioagents are available at present to control the weeds. Now to study the biological control methods. There are two methods. First one is classical biological methods and second is inundative biological control, which is also known as bioherbicide strategy. Classical biological control refers to the release of a natural predator or pathogen of a pest species with the anticipation that it will be able to persist in the environment and provide ongoing reduction of the pest species population throughout an entire ecosystem. Classical biological control, which is biological control of non-native invasive weeds with natural enemies originating from the native range of the weed, has proven a viable strategy for managing weeds in areas subjected to low intensity management such as lands, forest, preserved nature areas, and some waterways. Second, inundative biological control or bioherbicide strategy refers to the application of propagation materials such as fungal spores or bacterial suspensions in concentration that would not normally occur in nature with the intention of destroying a pest species within a managed area. The inundative biological control strategy is more relevant to the need of agriculture and turf management as it can generally be implemented through the application of inoculum as liquid sprays or solid granules in a similar manner to conventional herbicides. The use of an inundative method where an organism is applied to achieve rapid reduction in weed population has also proven successful in some instances. In the future, pathogens may also be used to introduce or alter specific genes to control growth, flowering, seed set, and competitiveness of weeds. Now we'll study about first method, classical biological control. Main objective of classical biological weed control is restoring balance between target alien weeds and its natural enemies in the ecosystem by introduction of suitable exotic bioagent. Successful bioagent reduce the weed population first, then the bioagent population due to starvation of food. After some time, the bioagent population may recover, This process continues in cyclic fashion till the bioagent and weed population gets established at a low level. This method is a slow operating and currently used in non-cropped areas. In crop fields, the bioagent will not get opportunity to work on host weed due to frequent usage of insecticides and fungicides in modern agriculture. Otherwise, Cypress rotundus can be controlled in crop fields with moth Vectra virutana and selective biocontrol of Ludwigia parviflora, which is known as water purslane, by Heltica cyanea in rice fields. Weeds introduced from foreign countries often require a different strategy. Insect and pathogens are collected in the area of origin and evaluated for release in North America. Insect agents often require a number of years to become fully effective. Their growth is often hindered by adverse climatic conditions. Long-term monitoring is needed to determine their effectiveness. The release of biological control organisms in this manner is termed as classical approach to biological control. Fungi that naturally spread and infect weeds can also be used in a classical biological control strategy. Now the kinds of classical bioagents. These are categorized in two types. First one is bioagent may be either a specific attack only one or two specific weeds, like specific bioagents are insects, plant pathogens and competitive plants. And second is non-specific bioagent feed upon a variety of vegetation. Non-specific bioagents are carpfish, snails and mites. Here to study the criteria or characteristics of successful bioagent. First one is host specific. Bioagents should be host specific and they should not attack other economic plant species. Lantana was controlled by Teleonemia scrupulosa insect bioagent, but in India it is likely to damage teak Tectona grandis and sesame. Zygogramma bicolorata is an effective leaf-eating bioagent against Parthenium, but it is found to attack flower in India. Second one is bioagent hardiness. Bioagent should free from its own parasites and predators. Bioagents should withstand starvation for short or long periods of food shortage when the target weed population is brought to low level. But carp can't survive even a short period of starvation. Third one is feeding habit. Bioagents are more efficient in controlling weeds if they attack either flowers or seeds of the weed or bore into the stem than roots and leaf feeders. But root feeding insects are more effective in controlling perennial weeds. Fourth one is ease of multiplication. Bioagents should have high rate and ease of natural reproduction. It is very important for insects, pathogens, snails and competitive plants. But it is not desirable with carp as its increased population compete with natural fish. Classical bioagents are categorized in 6 kinds for controlling weeds. First one is insects. Insects have been most frequently used as biological control agents of weeds, and this will likely continue. The reason are that there have been major successes using phytophagous insects, and almost all of the scientists working in biocontrol of weeds are entomologists. These are largely host specific, like one insect species is employed to destroy only one weed species. First successful example reported from Hawaii in 1902, Lantana camera controlled by moth, Crocidosema lantana. Insects that were found effective belong to Lepidoptera, Hemiptera, Coleoptera and Diptera. Second one is competitive plants. Certain plant species are very competitive in suppressing specific weeds. Slender Aspicrus aquatic plant can cover the canal bottom and it is not allowing to establish destructive tall weeds. Typha species can be controlled by Panicum purpurescens or Brachiaria emutica paragrass. Marigold has potential to displacing Parthenium species. Cassia sericea also suppressed. Cassia thora, commonly called chakoda, and marigold are capable to replace Parthenium by broadcasting of seeds during February to April in the Parthenium infested area. Plenty of seeds of Cassia thora may be collected easily during October-November. Many Parthenium infested sites have been managed by use of this technique. Third classical biological control agent is carp fish. Certain freshwater carp fish consume large quantities of aquatic weeds. White amur means Chinese grass carp is promising a species of aquatic weed control. This can grow more than its body weight, like 5 kg per year, and attaining up to 50 kg at its full size. Herbivorous fish are not food specific, whereas the common carp is a non-herbivorous fish used to control submerged aquatic weeds. Fourth agent is plant pathogens. Many fungi attack a specific weed species. For instance, Acacia glauca controlled by a spore suspension of Cephalosporium zonatum. A skeleton weed Chondrilla juncea controlled by rust-causing fungi Puccinia chondrilliana. Fifth agent is slender Aspicrus, under which Brachylagia emutica and marigold displacing Parthenium. Sixth one is snails. The large tropical freshwater snail Merissa canoritis feeds on aquatic weeds. Merissa feeds on roots of water hyanthus, water lettuce and leaves of salvinia. Merissa canoritis feeds on aquatic weeds. Now to go through outstanding examples of classical biocontrol. First one is Lantana camera. Lantana was the first weed controlled successfully with certain insect bioagents in Hawaii. Of these, Crocidosema lantana, a moth, was found to be promising in destroying flowers and seeds of lantana. In Australia, 3 successful insect biocontrol agents are hispin beetles and tingid or lantana bug. Then second one is prickly pear Opuntia species control. In Australia, biocontrol of Opuntia inermis with a moth Cactoblastis cactorum. In Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, 40,000 hectares land was recovered from the weed Opuntia delani by releasing Dactylopleus tomentosus, a cochineal scale insect, for control. Third one is water hyanthus. It is worldwide aquatic weed infested transplanted paddy fields including India. Hyanth moth feed upon the young leaves and apical buds. Besides this beetle, Neochatina bruchii and Neochatina equinorini are also damaging water hyanthus. Fourth one is Salvinia molesta. In Kerala, curculonoid beetle used to clear the freshwater courses and paddy fields. They feed on terminal buds and rhizomes and petioles of Salvinia. Now, bioherbicide philosophy of weed control. Some bacteria and fungi applied as biological control agents do not survive from year to year. These organisms must be applied on an annual basis. This technique is called the bioherbicide strategy. With this tactic, biological agents are used in a manner similar to chemical herbicides. Bioherbicides are pathogen cultured artificially and made available in sprayable formulations just like a chemical herbicide. The pathogen selected for the purpose is usually from the native place of the weed, but it could also be from other places. The bioherbicides are also sometimes called mycoherbicides. A mycoherbicides can be both specific and non-specific. The bioherbicide philosophy differs from the classical biocontrol philosophy referred to earlier in certain ways as follows. Bioherbicides remain active only on the current weed population without any chance of cyclic perpetuation of the weeds. Each new flush of the weeds thus requiring retreatment with it. Bioherbicide can be developed from selective control of weeds in a crop just like any other selective herbicide, which is not the case with the classical philosophy bioagents as per Julian 1987. The development of a bioherbicide is of great interest to industrialists since it involves every season requirement of the product for field use. In variance with it, the classical biological control approach has no incentives to the private profit-oriented organizations. It must depend solely upon public sector support. Now we will go through plant pathogens as biocontrol agents of weeds. Plant pathogens offers two advantages over insect as biocontrol agents of weeds. First one, they are often more host specific, and second, plant pathogens can be applied with conventional spray equipment at a time when the weed is at its most susceptible stage. The biological control approaches are having two types. First one is conventional approach and second is biological herbicides. First we will study about conventional approach. Biological control of weeds has conventionally been applied against alien weeds by introducing one or more of their natural enemies. Control of a weed with a plant pathogen used in this manner was achieved against skeleton weed, the major weed of wheat in Australia. A host-specific rust, Puccinia chondriana, was collected in Italy and introduced into Australia in 1971. The rust spread very rapidly and at present controls the weed over most of its range. Control has been so spectacular that herbicides are no longer being used to control this weed in Australia. Numerous introduced weeds in Canada are known to be attacked by plant pathogens in their native ranges. However, research in this area has not yet been established in Canada. Now, second approach, pathogens used as biological herbicides. A new approach to biocontrol of weeds has recently been pioneered in Arkansas with the application of a spore suspension of an endemic fungus. The fungus controlled 99% of a serious weed, northern joint wedge, in rice without damage to the rice crop. The disease was already present in the fields but did not damage its host because it normally attacked too late in the season. When the fungus was applied early in the seedling stage, it destroyed the weed. The fungus is now being tested on a field scale and there appears to be no biological or technological limitations that would prevent commercialization of the fungus as a mycoherbicide. Possible targets for this approach in Canada are numerous as practically all Canadian weeds have plant pathogens recorded on them. Wild oat is attacked by numerous plant pathogens which normally attack late in the season and do not appreciably damage the weed. If host-specific pathogens of wild oats are applied early in the season, some degree of control could possibly be achieved. An attractive feature of this method is that it does not involve the introduction of any new organisms into our environment, but merely the use of host-specific pathogens at a time when they are most effective. This method may also prove to be valuable for integrated weed control systems. Like example, most weeds are controlled in corn with a standard herbicide application, but few weeds such as quakegrass and yellow nutsedge are more difficult to control. The application of host-specific pathogens could be integrated into the present weed control system to control these types of weeds. In Canada, a significant number of biological agents for control of insects, plant pathogens, and weeds have been approved by the Pest Management Regulatory Agency, with 24 such products registered between 1972 to 2008, and majority of these registrations occurring between 2000 to 2008. Yet even greater number of microbes and microbe-derived chemicals has been registered with the United States Environmental Protection Agency for crop, forest, or ecological management, with 53 such products registered between 1996 to 2010. As of 2014, 47 different microbial strains were approved in the European Union for the purpose of controlling fungi or insects. Surprisingly, there are no microbes approved for the control of weeds species in the European Union. Grazing by livestock is also a form of biological weed control, but grazing is not always effective when trying to target a specific weeds. Most grazing animals are not selective feeders and will feed on their preferred plants, including crop plants. Studies have shown some insects like ground beetles and crickets and rodents will feed on weeds or weed seeds, potentially consuming large number of seeds. This requires a suitable habitat and weed seed availability when large number of these feeding insects or rodents are present. History of biological weed control in India. The earliest record of biological control of a weed was the large-scale destruction of Opuntia vulgaris in central and northern India by Dactylopius silonicus, introduced from Brazil in the mistaken belief that it was Dactylopius coccus costa, a species cultured as a source of carmine dye. The intentional introduction of the same insect during 1836-1838 into southern India is the first successful intentional use of an insect to control a weed. Biological control by Mexican beetle in India, based on well-documented success by Mexican beetle in other countries where they were introduced. Beetles were imported in 1982 from Mexico to Bangalore. Detailed host specificity test under quarantine conditions confirmed the safety of Zygogramma bicolorata to cultivated crops in the country. Thereafter, field releases were initiated in Bangalore and India's other parts. Since the first release in the fields in 1984 at Bangalore, the beetle has well established in most of the South India and many parts of Central and North India. In a very conservative estimate, it is calculated that the beetle has already spread in about 7 million hectares of land, which amounts to be about 20% area of the estimated 35 million hectares land infested with the Parthenium. Initially, it was feared that beetle will not be able to survive in the extreme low and high temperature of North and Central India, but it has bettered this assumption and beetle has established well in many parts of Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh and Maharashtra. Both adults and larvae are capable to feed on Parthenium leaves. Larvae after hatching start to feed on soft growing leaves, first attacking the terminal and axillary buds and then the leaf blades, thus checking completely the plant growth and flower production. Adults voraciously defoliate the plant. Immature flowers are cut by the beetles in an effort to chew soft tissues beneath the flowers. Completely defoliated plants start to show dieback symptoms and gradually get killed. Small and succulent plants are more vulnerable to larvae and beetles attack or nipped into the bud. In many states of India, beetle has established and contributing to control several hundred hectares of land fully infested with Parthenium. At many places, beetle even control Parthenium in the crop fields where insects searched the Parthenium amidst the crop and devoured it. Now to study how microorganisms are working as a control agents. Roots provide plants with water and nutrients. Some biological control agents attach to roots and thereby stunt plant growth. Some bacteria live on root surfaces and release toxins that stunt root growth. Many fungi infect roots and disrupt the water transport system, which reduces leaf growth. Beneficial insects and nematodes feed directly on the weed roots, causing injury, which allow bacteria and fungi to penetrate. Plant leaves capture energy from the sun and store it as sugar. Insects that feed on leaves reduce the leaf surface availability for energy capture. Fungi and bacteria that infect leaves reduce the ability of the leaf to make sugars. In either case, there is less energy available for weed growth, whether through damage on roots or leaves. Severe infestations of biological control agents can actually kill weeds, reducing their adverse effects on desirable plants. Many weed species survive from year to year by producing seeds. Fungi or insects that attack seeds can produce the number of weed seeds stored in the soil, which in turn can reduce the size of future weed population. This lowers the effort needed to control the remaining emerging weeds. Biological control is worth the effort. It is well demonstrated that weeds can be controlled biologically. Deleterious rhizobacteria have been used to stunt weed growth in wheat field in the Pacific Northwest. A rust fungus has been used to eliminate rust skeleton weed from thousands of acres of rangeland in the west. A complex of introduced insects has also cleared alligator weed from waterways, rice fields, and lakes in the south. Biological weed control should be a component of integrated weed management system consisting of multiple biological control organisms and judicious use of chemical, cultural, and physical methods. It is essential to continue funding of research and development of biological weed control as a management option, to foster a commitment from federal, state, private, and public institutions to this option, and to increase emphasis on biological weed management in weed science curricula. So this presentation was all about biological weed control. I have given here my YouTube channel details, Journey with Vijay Kumar Srivastav. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it, and provide your kind and valuable feedbacks. Thank you.